Of the tensions that defined the peace policy era, few were more divisive than Indian education. The idea was simple: take children away from their so-called ignorant parents and backward communities, and train them to be Americans who cherish individualism and republicanism over tribal life. Reformers, convinced that the time for fighting had passed, called for an army of Christian school teachers to lead Indian children from barbarism toward civilization and salvation. In 1870, Congress supported assimilation with a $100,000 appropriation to establish federal industrial schools mainly on existing reservations. These early efforts often failed because Indian parents resented efforts to dismantle their cultures through their children, and because students simply ran away. Administrators ultimately replaced reservation-based day schools with remote boarding schools, which separated children from their parents for extended periods of time. In 1879, 84 Lakota children became the first students at the Carlisle, Pennsylvania Indian Training School. Their education there marked the beginning of a generation-long effort to assimilate Indian children coercively in 81 schools from Carlisle to Riverside, California. Carlisle School founder Richard Henry Pratt studied the Hampton model as he developed his ideas for an Indian school system. The story of Indian education is complicated. Students sometimes went willingly to the boarding schools for personal reasons or as an escape from the humiliation and privation of the reservation. Other students were lured with vague promises of exciting trips. Some parents willingly signed over their children hoping that education promised them a better way of life. Others signed without realizing their children would be sent far away for extended periods. The Indian children, of course, bore the most painful burden as they left their families for the military-like routines of boarding school. Many years later, Plentykill, a Lakota Sioux, remembered a sad scene as Indian children said goodbye to their parents. Separation from their parents was the first step in a process that isolated Indian children from their culture and traditions. At the schools, teachers gave children new names and clothes, uniforms for boys, and long dresses for girls. The setting, lifestyle, and curriculum were all designed to teach Indian children to conform to the white ways of the world. At Carlisle, Pratt told arriving students and visitors that he would, quote, kill the Indian to save the man.